welcome to the Swift Half, your weekly session of chat from the UK OCR and adventure running scene. Each week, pub landlord Alan and our favourite regular Ian discuss races, runners and anything else that comes to mind. So pull up a pew, pour yourself a drink and join us for the Swift Half.
You're listening to the 10th most popular podcast for listeners who know there is nothing swift about the Swift Half.
Greetings, Ian, you've changed. Ian, I have got no Ian. Will.
Hello. Yes, you can tell I'm a lot different from Ian. He's obviously better looking, and his voice is so much more pronounced. So yeah, hi. I'm Ian's replacement for the day, I guess.
Yeah, shall we tell our listeners where he is? He's over in Dublin at this moment in time doing fitness racing stuff. So he messaged me this morning and said, "Can Will come and do it?" So I reached out to you, didn't I? I said, "Can you come and join me at Swift Hour for a drink?" And here you are.
And here I am. And I think the problem is he said he's over there for High Rocks, but we all have seen his Instagram that he's already at the Game of Thrones studio tour. So that's what he's really there for, isn't he? And we know he's a big Game of Thrones fan.
That's the only thing he's there for. Do they have? I've never been to. Well, I've been to Dublin when I was younger, and it was literally one drinking festival after another. You know, like we just did pub after pub after pub after pub. So I don't remember much of it. Is there any strange that into what you do with my life? I was going to say, I know Jen and that they're also into like going on like roller coasters and stuff like. Is there any theme park over there, or is it just the Game of Thrones stuff? That's it.
I think. Well, I did Tough Mudder there a few years ago. I can't remember when it was. Over in Dublin, and there is Tato Land. And I don't know how much of a theme park it is at Tato Land. Maybe it is just lots of packets of crisps, but there is Tato Land just outside Dublin. Maybe they're there too. I don't know.
I've got visions of a roller coaster now. Did you ever go on? Is it the Mouse at Blackpool, which was a really thin one? You sat on it and it spun around like so fast around these corners. I've got a vision of that, but instead of like the cars, potatoes that you sit inside and it just flies around.
Just on a very quick side note, that Mouse at Blackpool is one of the most famous roller coasters. Not for the one being at Blackpool, it's just the same model all over the world. I was doing the same one in Skeggy, but there's hundreds of those roller coasters all across the world. Such a famous model.
Oh wow, bit of trivia there for people out there. I like that. Potato World as well. Flying saucers shaped as crisps. Oh, we could start our own. We could start our own up here.
There we go.
Oh gosh. Let's get down to the most important question. We'll go a bit early this week because we've been waiting a bit longer last time. Will, what are you drinking?
So today I got out a very special can of Brewdog Punk AF. It's only special because it's been in my fridge since the last Tough Mudder of the season, which was several weeks ago. So yeah, Punk AF. I've got a bit of a cold, so I've got a little bit of Ribena as well, just to make sure my throat is as smooth as possible and not coughing the ears of our listeners.
How can you have cold? You've been over to one of the hottest places probably in the world at this moment in time in Florida.
Well, I'm sure you won't be surprised to know that at points of this 30-degree high heat to 20-degree low heat, I still was a bit of neoprene.
No!
I honestly did. Especially, it got a little bit windy at night, and I took all my different bits of neoprene kit because notoriously, I get cold. But I put my vest on with the long sleeves, and actually, to be honest, it was more about long sleeves because there's a lot of crawling at Warsaw Smudder. But it did get a bit cold, and there was a lot of water on course. So with that wind and the water, I did get a little bit cold, even at a lowest of 20 degrees centigrade. I still had to wear neoprene.
I reckon if we took you to the Philippines, or somewhere like that, and said to you, we're going to go swimming in this beautiful blue sea that's currently bathing in 20 degrees, you'd still go reach for the neoprene.
Well, it's funny you should say that. I wasn't quite in Philippines, but as you might remember, I was in Alula, Saudi Arabia, as the first Tough Mudder of my season this year. I did take neoprene. I didn't wear neoprene. It was still 22, 23 degrees throughout the whole day, but I did take neoprene just in case. But anyway, we're not here to talk about my Tough Mudder season. Alan, what are you drinking?
Well, I've gone with water, and I call it water. People might have heard me mention this before, but I've got some cans of water, which is still Geordie water. You can purchase it from www.drinkwater, that's wata.com. Use code UKOCR, bit of advertising here from free advertising. I'm not getting paid for this. You use code UKOCR at it, and you get 20% off. I like it. I like it, Will. I'm
You
going to
know
call you
what's
Ian then. I was going to call you Ian for some strange reason.
it's
I love
it's
it,
it's
Will.
it's all right. It's fine. I know I'm the third wheel in this relationship. So what I like about the Watter now, I know Ben. He's a Tough Mudder Legionnaire. He's all over the place. I know the Watter sponsored Born Survivor, didn't they?
Yeah.
Earlier this year. I think for me, because I've got a box of water. You know, when I met Ben, he said, "Here, take some water." I've got to call it water. Sorry. But what I really like is that it's in a can, and I know notoriously, plastic bottles and plastic waste and all this kind of stuff. But being in a can, it feels like you're more responsible. That you can just throw it in the recycling bin, and it will get recycled because it's an aluminium can rather than just a plastic bottle. So that's what I really like about water.
And I like that about recycling as well. I was talking to with my mother the other day, and we was talking about the change in now. Our ancestors are being blamed for climate change and all of that, and I get they weren't absolutely perfect back then, and I don't think we're perfect now. However, she was saying like pop, for instance, any type of bottled pop. Back then, she used to buy it from a local pop man that used to come round, and you used to have to pay 10 pence extra on a bottle, which you then had to take back, and that bottle was then taken back, washed, and reused again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and over the years, there might have been thousands and thousands of refills in that bottle.
Yeah.
Where now we are very much in a throwaway society, and she was talking about you go to a supermarket now and you buy chicken breast, for instance, it comes
Mm.
in a plastic package. She never bought chicken breast like that. They would buy you the whole chickens, or if they bought portions of chickens, it came like just in some grease-proof paper,
Mm-hmm.
and wrapped up and put in a bag. Much easier, much less plastic waste. And I think it wasn't my generation before me. I think it's potentially my generation and what I'm living in now that is responsible for so much plastic waste in the world.
I think what's really interesting as well, and I take that about the chicken and the pop, but in Europe, you are paying, especially like Sweden, the Nordic countries, and Germany, you buy a bottle or a can, and you are paying 10 cents, 10 euro for it, and then you take all your cans or whatever back to the supermarket, you put them in the machine, and then you get this little voucher at the end of maybe €1 or €2 or whatever, and then you can spend that back in the supermarket. They're trying to bring that over here in the UK, and I'm sure not heard much about it recently, but it just seems to be uproar about why people have to spend another 5 pence, 10 pence to recycle things, and it's so much harder to take things back. It's like, no, it's not. It's really easy, and I think for most people, you know, 10 pence, and you're getting that 10 pence back off at some point in your shopping is a really good thing to do. And I guess just one more thing, another Tough Mudder story. But when I went to Tough Mudder Germany with Leon Ski and the Solo Mudders a couple of years ago now, because it wasn't this year, we obviously had lots of beer, lots of
Yeah.
soft drinks, and we just had like 3 or 4 carry bags full of empties, and we carried around with them, and we just gave them to a homeless person, for them to take home, or take them to the shop, and they could recycle them themselves, because it was a Sunday, and all the shops in Germany are shut on a Sunday, so we couldn't recycle them ourselves. But it was such a nice thing that I guess is a secondary economy that if you want a side hustle, as it were, or for homeless who want to make a little bit extra for food or whatever, they can just go around collecting the cans, collecting the bottles, take them to the supermarket, and there's we probably in a way gave them €5, 5, €6, just because of the number of empty cans we gave them in the carry bag. I think we should do that in the UK, and I can't wait for that to happen and kind of almost bring back the olden times when we actually recycled a lot more.
Completely, completely. I fully agree. I fully agree. Let's move off to recycled corner.
I
Yeah,
know.
let's move on to a little bit of what's happening. I've got some news. So I'm going to start off with something that we've talked about a lot. The community's a little bit frightened of it, but this week we had the UIPM vote over in, is it Riyadh? I want to say Riyadh. And I got a little bit of information about it, Will. Do you want me to share it with you?
Yes, because obviously I know what was going on before, and kind of boss and everyone, and I think it was the Danes that said come in and said we say no to what UPIM are proposing, and then of course I've been off and away in my own world, so I don't know what this news is. So Alan, take it away.
So, in layman's terms, they were having a vote, and the vote basically turned around and said that UIPM would take over obstacle sports and ninja and adventure racing. I think that was the three elements of it. And adventure racing said no. British obstacle sports and a few other national federations asked for a change in the wording. UIPM didn't go with that change in the wording, and they had a vote. And at that vote, their motion to take over OCR or take over the RR world was declined. Woohoo! Fantastic!
Nice,
Yay! Great
good job,
stuff.
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. However, it didn't quite end there. So the pesky Maltese decided, yeah, and there was one other country as well, and I can't remember the other country, but I'm going to say the Maltese. So Malta decided to make a slight amendment to some of the wording. So it didn't so much sound like they were taking over the world. It sounded a little bit more like they were taking over the world. So basically, the wording didn't really change the context of it. And lo and behold, it was passed. So it was voted in. So, in theory, and I say in theory, UIPM are now in control of obstacle course racing, or so they think. Yeah, because this is self-appointed. This is them self-appointing it.
But don't you think, Alan? Oh, gosh, but don't you think because they are already a federation, other like Sport England or whatever, and other sport associations around the world will go, all right, you're already a federation, you're already a sport, all right, you do that. So what does that mean to the likes of British obstacle sports who are trying to be a federation and a sport? What does it mean to other associations around the world that are kind of trying to get obstacle racing as its own standalone sport? This sounds dangerous to me.
It is a little bit dangerous, and it's going to be different in every country. So, from my understanding, Malta pushing it through, it's going to help them. It's going to help them get where they want to get to. However, for countries like us at this moment in time, we have got Pentathlon GB. They are recognised by the government as the National Federation for Pentathlon in Great Britain. They speak to UIPM. We've also got British Obstacle Sports, who are currently going through the process of being recognised, and they currently speak to World Obstacle. Okay, so we're talking about this is only at the top level, UIPM, and we've got World Obstacle. So World Obstacle's now going to make a choice. Do they decide to collaborate with UIPM, or do they decide to hang a minute here? We are the world. We are the world governing body for obstacle course racing. You can't come in and say, I'm now the world governing body and self-appoint yourself. There'd have to be some type of legal recourse there. I don't know what it is, but then this depends on Ian Adamson. Yeah. So this all depends on Ian Adamson and what he wants to do. All right. Now, I have heard rumours Okay, so I have heard some rumours, and these are from. I'm not going to say what sources they're from, but they're not within inside British obstacle sports. I can assure you these are from outside British obstacle, and I don't know how good these rumours are. All right, that World Obstacle seem to have a little bit of debt. I don't know where that debt's from. Maybe it's from the World Championship or something like that.
Didn't they get
However,
some money from Belgium or something? So surely they shouldn't be in debt.
got money from everywhere, didn't they? But I don't know because they don't have no bank accounts. So in theory, they shouldn't have no debts. But Ian Adamson has been traveling the world. You know, he has been going off here, there, and everywhere. So maybe if he's not
Wait,
used
wait.
his own money,
Is he not a volunteer like the rest of, like, the likes of you and me? And of course we've got the UK OCR jet, but I don't think there's a World Obstacle jet. They're not quite as big as what we are. So surely he's a volunteer and is paying out of his own money because, of course, he wants to see the sport of obstacle racing to be, a sport. That's what he should be doing, right?
without a doubt, without a doubt, Will. And he's not come to ask us for our jet, has he? You know, because if he'd have asked us for our jet, we might have given him a discount.
Well, Becky's always using the jet, so there's always that. There's only the odd time here and there that the jet's free.
That's it. But I don't know. Could it be an easy out for Ian and World Obstacle? I do think it is. It's my opinion. I do think it is. If it's true what I'm hearing that he's got the old little bit of money, and I'm not talking a lot of money. I'm not talking hundreds of thousands and things like that. I'm talking about a couple of thousand, whatever it is. Um, might be in double figures, might not be. And this is only rumours that I'm hearing. But if they are, it could be an easy out for them to go, okay, UIPM, you're taking over us. Thank you very much. And Ian gets a seat on the board. Um, that's my thoughts. I think from a national point, so we're quite lucky. I'm going to say this: we're quite lucky here, Will, that we have got a great committee in charge of British obstacle sports, and British obstacle sports are already talking with Pentathlon GB, and they're doing crossovers. So um, we're going to be talking about something else in a minute, but they're lending obstacles to British obstacle sports. Pentathlon GB has built a 100-meter course, but they're loaning out obstacles to British obstacle sports. There's a connection there between them already. They're working together. I'd like to see that continue.
And I think it will. I think you're absolutely right. And I know I'm taking kind of the Ian cynical point, and I think you're right that maybe Ian will get Ian Adamson, not our own
Yeah.
very Ian K, will get that seat on the board that he's probably always wanted, and therefore his job is done. He can put his feet up. But I absolutely agree that it seems that British Obstacle Sports boss and the whole team are working hand in hand with GB Pentathlon to really grow the sport of obstacle racing and not just be part of pentathlon, but to be that sport and to be its own sport. And it does seem that pentathlon GP are supporting us to be our own sport rather than just be a part of the pentathlon community. So, yeah, I guess it's difficult, isn't it? From the very top, if you talk about world, then it's like, well, that takes over UK and Europe and everything else. But hopefully, we can still pave our own path, move it forward without, I guess. forgive the pun, but without the obstacles that are being put in the way via UPIM.
Exactly. You're spot on, and I do think we will. I think we're in a really good position in the UK. I think we're in a really good position. I think there's some countries out there that are not as good as us. I think there's countries that are as good as us. What I don't want to see, and again, this is just my opinion, is that should World Obstacle move in with UIPM, yeah, that some federations around the world decide to go with the other self-appointed World Obstacle OCR, whatever it's going to be, that was formed 6-7 months ago, that so far has done very little other than, I guess, Slate World Obstacle. So yeah, I don't really want that move. I'd like to see that if we are going to join forces, if the world's join forces with UIPM, then it was done in a sensible way and not in a takeover way or some federations throwing the teddies out and leaving because we need to be one. I wouldn't want to see it as become like boxing or darts, where you've got, was it World Boxing Association, World Boxing Organization, Let's Box Next Door in the Pub organization, and at the end of the
But
day,
then,
we're probably going to end up another World Championships, aren't we? We've got enough.
yeah, we got. I mean, we've got. Who is it? Logan now, the champion of nothing. We got WWE, WWF, IBF, WBA, and no, you're absolutely right. I think we are in, we as in the UK are in a very privileged position to have British old school sports and what they're doing and how we're trying to move it forward. And I see it kind of from what you guys are doing in terms of UK OCR series and bringing people together. And I don't think any other country would be able to work so closely with Tough Mudder slash Spartan, who can basically roller over anybody, in almost any other country. But to be able to work with the big boys and also the independents, whether that's Nuclear, Born Survivor, Total War, and all those ones, and to trying to get everybody working in harmony is really good. A good view on what it should be and what it could become in the future. So, all power to British Obstacle Sports. Hopefully, we can get over whatever this thing is and whatever happens next. But as you say, mate, it's almost saying yes, we are in charge of obstacle sports, but without the kind of the yes from all the other federations saying, yeah, actually, we think you'll do us a really good job. And I would assume that most other federations are going, whoa, you don't really know anything about obstacle racing. You stay in your lane. And hopefully we'll be able to, again, pave their own path through British Obstacle, through the Europeans, and through anything else that we might get in terms of a collaborative federation.
Yeah, completely agree. Completely agree. Well, we're talking about boss. Let's move on to some other boss news. So this week, it was announced the British OCR 12K Championships is going to happen. And before I talk about it, first of all, there's been a bit of negativity about this, because everyone's talking. It's going to be on the 10th of May, Saturday 10th of May, and they're all saying, why don't RDs talk to each other, and I'm going to stick up for race directors here. Okay, race directors probably never used to talk to any to each other. However, now they are actually talking. I've never known race directors talk to so many people that I know and discuss dates and things like that. And some of them even move dates. However, we are talking about two huge companies here, as in Nuclear Racers, who are going to be holding this in terms of British Obstacle Sports, and we're talking about Tough Mudder, who are going to be putting on now then 10th of May. Is that London Northwest?
What the hell is London Northwest? What the hell are you talking about? It's
Well,
London West.
London
London
West,
West. It's in Henley, so kind of
Northwest.
Reading way. No. It is west of London. But I understand that there's a in this Venn diagram of obstacle races, there is going to be a small sliver of people that would really like to have done nuclear, but Tough Mudder, especially this Tough Mudder, is Europe's toughest infinity. So this is a 12-hour race.
Yeah,
So if you look at the number of people that would do a 12-kilometer race compared to a 12-hour race, that Venn diagram of obstacle races is actually quite small. Probably I was one of them. But you kind of pays your money, you takes your choice. I would love to do the open wave at British OCR Championships, but I'll probably go and do the 12-hour because Tough Mudder is obviously in my heart. There's only going to be a few people that's going to be like that. It's the same World's Toughest Mudder. It's the same weekend as European Championships, but that slither of people that do a 24-hour course compared to a 10K course is really, really small. Of course, they're the ones that probably shout loudest, but um,
yeah.
I unfortunately, Nuclear and Tough Mudder have always clashed. I've always had to make the choice
Always.
between one or the other. But the distance between the two, they're both different sides of London. If we are totally honest, quite the vast majority are very different audiences. So it is a shame, but it is what it is. If we move on.
But now we've got Rat Race on that weekend as well. So
Oh, I forgot about that one. The one day event.
the 1 day events. So we're gonna have three big events. It does affect people, but I'm going to say Rat Race are their own thing. But I was going to stick up for race directors because we know that James he owns a working farm, so he's limited. People think, oh, he can put a race on whenever he can. No, he can't. He's got crops. He's got a livelihood to beat. He has to put his races on at certain times a year. He's probably got a 1 or 2 week window. Could he maybe move it to the week? Possibly, but he's had that week for like nearly 10, 12 years. Tough Mudder, can they move weeks? No. They're booked into that land. They're booked into that land 2, 3 years in advance, penciled in. They're not going to move it. Can Rat Race chose another week? No. Because that's probably what Burley House has given them and said, you can have this week and that's it. So
Yeah,
guys, we can't
it's
argue
difficult.
about
Yeah,
race directors. They are talking. Trust me, they're talking.
and I mean, yeah, I think you're right. Rat Race is kind of that one that's come out of left of center. To be fair, and actually between the three of them, that Venn diagram of obstacle races is actually it becomes quite large, isn't it? And
Yeah.
especially if it's the Rat Race and it's just that one event, possibly won't be coming back in 2026. People go, ooh, or maybe in turn the heads. I've actually never done Rat Race before. I've never even gone for the weekend. I would have liked to have done it, but yeah, I'm going down to ETI now, so it is what it is, isn't it?
And unfortunately, I can't do any because I'm away in Corfu, I want to say. I've got my
How have you managed to book a holiday on the weekend that there's like all the major races on? Now this is just as bad as any of those bloody race directors. I mean, come on, you're like the president of UKOCR Incorporated LLC PLC, and yet you still go away on the wrong time. I mean, I need to speak to Paula.
No, I had to book this weekend because I knew that Becky wasn't using the jet. So Becky's not using the jet because she's at nuclear. I had to go away that weekend. It's the only week I could have jet.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'll let you off with that one then.
Bit more about British Obstacle Sports before we move on to some other things. The 100 metre is at Fit Fest coming up December 8th. Have I got December 8th? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. That's that weekend anyway. Yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, 100 meters. There are still some places left. Now I've looked at this here. Ian. I'm going to call you Ian again. That's second time.
Oh my god! Look. I know Ian's got kind of. I'm sure he doesn't look Asian. Let's be fair. He's not.
I'm not even looking at your picture. I'm looking at my computer screen, and I think that's why I'm doing it. Will, yes, let's get this right. So I've looked at this. Now, in my age category, there's only one runner. So I'm thinking maybe I can go down. I'm going to podium. How about that?
I think that would be awesome to podium, but it'd be quite funny if you came back and oh yeah, I got second place. I got second place podiums. Like yeah, okay. How many?
Yeah, exactly. So guys, have a look. There's lots of places if you could podium. It's, if you're an old codger like me, you get on a bit. You're going to podium. Get yourself down there. 100 meters. I'm down 100 meters, so I can probably. I'm thinking a minute for the first obstacle.
Maybe I was going to say, come on.
Yeah. So
it would take me a minute just to walk that whole 100 meters without the obstacles. Never mind trying to do those obstacles too. Like we all I have joked about kind of podiums or kind of beating whatever, but my own thought is you can only beat who turns up. And if they're not there, and if no one's there, and you're still first or you're still second, and there's only 2 or 3 in the group or whatever, you've still earned that place. You have still turned up. You've still taken on that race, and and excuse me, and done as best as you can. Therefore, you've earned that spot, whatever that spot is. I am a very big believer in you can only race who turns up.
Exactly, exactly. I'm going to go down. If not, I'm going to film. I'm hoping to go down and film. So, James, if there's any complimentary tickets for filmers going down, you need some filming, hit me up. I'll reach out to you separately. There you go. I've asked online. This is me trying to bug you. Talking about me, don't you know about my escape from Meriden?
Yes, let's talk about your escape from Meriden. How did you do? Did you do any better than last year? Or
I went into first of all, I went into this with a little bit of trepidation. So I've not ran for 5-6 weeks. I think I'd done one training run because I'd really come down with COVID and flu. No injuries, but just COVID and flu. So I'd not run at all. So I went into it with trepidation. However, I was feeling good. I was feeling confident. I know I'm fit enough to run, and everything else. So I was like, yeah, I'm just going to give it my best shot. I'm going to go for the full 24 hours, see how far I can get. Hopefully, I get all the way home. And I set myself a target. I wanted to cover 4 miles every hour. That was my goal. We've got a great route, everything else. The race was brilliant as always. Met Chris from the Squid Hats. I joined the Squid Hats for the whole of literally 30 minutes, I'm going to say, until I found them in the pub drinking halves. Nobody drinks halves. No, I was in no club that drinks halves. So that left. But I started off well. My buddies were running with Jamie and Rob. They were both injured, so that they ran, and I ran with them for the first, I want to say 30 miles, just under 30 miles before I left them. And I was running. I was bang on target, and then I got to about 42 miles into it. I want to say it was, and I got a little bit of a twinge in my left calf coming through Derby. And I don't know if you've ever had this, Will, but every time I put my foot down,
I've never been in Derby, so no.
I've never been in Derby.
I wouldn't want to. I'm from kind of Nottingham way, so I hear lots of stories about people from Derby.
And you never ran through Derby without a doubt, so you couldn't have ever done this. Okay. But I was running through Derby, and my left calf, you've got me confused now. You made me laugh now. My left calf, every time I ran, it was though someone was stabbing it with a needle. It was really strange feeling. So I walked for about a mile and a half, for half an hour, which is about a mile and a half at the speed I was walking. And it felt fine. So then I started to run again, but within 100 meters, I got the same pain. Now, I had arranged to meet Paula at 45-mile mark. So she was going to meet me at the 45-mile mark to 50-mile mark, somewhere in between there, bring me some proper food down and, so I could stock back up on my energy drinks. And I guess her meeting me made my decision much easier than probably would have been if she hadn't met me. Yeah. But I decided to call it a day. I was thinking to myself, if I carry on, I'm potentially going to do more damage. And as everyone knows, I've got one aiming, which is WTM next year. So all my training is going to be focused on that. I want to start it now. I want to start my training now. So I've got a good 6-7 months to build it up, to get to that point where I'm going to aim for 75 miles. I've said that. That's my aim in my head. So all my training is going to be aiming towards that. And I didn't want to, I was thinking to myself, if I get injured and I'm out for 2 months, that's 2 months of training I've lost. So it made my decision easily. The good news is, less than 5 days after I did it, I'm feeling fine and I'm running. So
perfect. So do you know what it was? Did you find out what was wrong, or you just kind of just dissipated and?
I had it for about 2 days afterwards. So every time I walked, I had a pain in my calf. You know what I think it is, and I haven't had it checked out or anything like that. I think it was just strain. I think because I'd not run for 6 weeks, and although my body's fit enough to run, my engine were good, that the moving parts weren't right. If you've got an engine, if you've got an engine stood still in a car and it's not run for 5 weeks and then you start it, there's something's going to go wrong at some point. And I just think it was that. I think my muscle was saying, hey, we haven't trained for this. We haven't trained for 5 weeks. You haven't even used me for 5 weeks. Now you wanted me to go, 40, 50 miles plus, and it would just say no. And I just really just think it was that. It was just my body just saying no because I felt perfect. I was feeling really good. On target, mileage wise, distance wise, I was, time wise, everything was spot on. I was eating well. I was drinking well. So yeah, I was in a really good place, but I just made that decision. But it's going to be my last one. I'm not going back next year.
Oh, we'll circle back to that in a second, but I think you made the right decision. I know for me, World Toughest Mudder was always my A race, and so whatever happened with the other races, and you're fit enough, you know you've got the mileages and the legs, and now it's about okay, keep that maintenance, build upon that, but also don't do anything stupid. And I think should you have been the Alan Moore that I know from a few years ago, where you would have been quite stubborn and just carried on regardless, you could have done yourself more damage. And actually,
Yeah.
a few days later, and you're fit and fine. I think it was probably the right thing to do. You've got nothing to prove, and now if it's all towards June, I think you're still a bit early in training, if I'm perfectly honest. But it's now maintenance, bit of building, and keep going and going, and just don't get injured or don't do anything stupid. And carrying on may have been that stupid option. But let's go back to this. Why are you not doing it next year? Because it would have been afterwards stuff Smudder. We could have been all fine and fit again. So why have you decided not to do it?
You're quite right. And next year, Escape from Meriden is a special one because it's a 48-hour event. So, people are, yeah, I know. So it is a special one. However, I always said that this year was going to be my last attempt at 100 miles, and this was my last attempt. So it's probably going to be out of my reach unless I manage to do it at WTM, which I don't think I'm going to,
Oh,
because that would be out of my reach.
Alan, you didn't really go and attempt the 100 miles last weekend. And I'm putting words in your mouth now, but with your build up to World's Toughest Mudder, and if you get 75 at World's Toughest Mudder, you actually would be on for 100 miles in the drive without obstacles. I don't think, well, it depends on how ticket sales go, but I think if you can, I'd hold on to that decision until a week after World's Toughest Mudder.
I, if I'm going to go for 100 miles again, I'm going to do it at a backyard ultra. Is where I'm going to do it. I was speaking to Grant Thompson this week, and we was talking about 24-hour races and doing lapped races, and he did one in Scotland which was 7 kilometer laps, but it was continue 24 hours continue. A bit like is it Endure in the Midlands an Equinox? No,
Equinox 24, which is same as World Toughest Mudder, same venue, and then you've got Endura 24, Sandringham 24. I love those sort of races where the thing I've never really fancied a backyard ultra is because you're going on the hour every hour, where actually I'd prefer to be able to stop when I want and carry on when I want. So there is that mental aspect of any sort of backyard ultra that I don't think I'm cut out to do, which is why I've never done one.
yeah, yeah. So I think if I do another attempt at 100 miles, I am going to do it where it's a lapped course. And my thought process is I was on track to do 100 miles at EFM, but I was carrying a lot of kit. You know, I was carrying waterproof kit. I was carrying because we didn't know what the weather was going to be like. I was carrying my own nutrition because you're going 8 hours without anything close by. So there was no food anywhere, no water anywhere. I was carrying 2.5 liters of water. All of this all adds up in weight. And I thought I know if I can run at 4 to 4.5 miles an hour doing that, carrying all that, I can easily run at 5 miles an hour and a 24-hour race. And I can have breaks, you know what I mean? I can run for 3 hours or 4 hours and I can have like 15-20 minute break and then I can go again and same for 24 hours. Maybe it's a different mindset in terms of, you're doing laps. I've never been a lap fan, but you know, is it going to give me an 100-mile badge? Yeah, I think it probably would. So maybe that's my thought process, Will.
Well, Equinox is sometime in September. Equinox 24 is sometime in September. Back again, as I've just mentioned, at Beaver Castle. So maybe that's the one for you.
Maybe that's the one for me. Yes.
You know what? I did Equinox 24 many years ago, and you have as a solo runner, you have a slightly different bib, um, and everyone just cheers you on. The other runners, other team, other pit crew. And sorry, just going on another tangent. What I really liked about Equinox 24 is your last kilometer is actually around the campsite. So you're getting clapped on by everybody, all the pit crew that are kind of waiting for their runners will always clap you in that last kilometer. It's really, really fantastic support. So maybe that is the one for you. Yeah.
I did Thunder Run about 7 or 8 years ago, which was very, very similar. And that was same for well, I think it was the first half kilometer and the last half kilometer. You ran through the event village and it was great, run along the side of tents and in between tents. It was fantastic. So yeah. Um, let's talk a little bit about Black Friday, because Black Friday has started super early, Will. You know, um, I'm a bargain hunter. Are you a bargain hunter?
I am a bargain hunter. I haven't seen any real big bargains lately. I know you're right into the bargains. What have you found any? Have you bought anything yet? Because we've obviously got all these Black Friday, pre-Black Friday sales, and there's Tough Mudder discount if anyone wants one. Just come and speak to me. But I've seen those, but I'm sure you've already started to buy stuff, right?
Yes.
Look, I,
In
I
a
knew it.
way.
I knew it. Not another bloody ice bath or anything like that, is it?
No, I bought three things. So far I bought three things. I've bought what's the free train? Do you know free train, the vests that you buy? So I've got a free train vest. I've had it years. Yeah, I use it probably once every blue moon. However, they had some really good gloves on sale, and so they reduced from £20 down to six. I bought some of them, and I bought some shorts from them as well, which were reduced from £30 down to a tenner, just so I could make it up to like a
That
straight
absolutely,
£20.
absolutely is a bargain then, definitely.
Yeah. So that was a good one. But my best one so far, I have bought some Innovate G300s again. So I bought some new
Um,
G300s, £170, reduced for one day only last weekend to 50 quid.
Did you tell any of us in our WhatsApp chat about this, or did you like just hold it for yourself, or what's going on?
Um,
Oh, it's
I,
like that, is it?
I was busy. I was running.
Oh,
I
I
was
was busy.
running.
How? Obviously, not busy enough to be able to buy a pair of shoes on the run anyway.
It was just when you're running and you see something pop, an email pop up. My phone beeped with this email, and it was like, "You have 24 hours to purchase these." I was like, not turning it down. I was like, and then that course my run just continued, and I forgot all about it. So sorry.
We know who our friends are, and
Um,
we're even different sizes. What's all this
yeah.
about?
I am a size 13 though, so I was lucky to actually get a pair. So yeah, they're pretty cool. I'm
Have
happy.
you seen anything else that's interesting? Because I know I've just mentioned Spartan and Tough Mudder. I've seen that they've got discounts out, and I'm sure I've seen Born Survivor have come out with a discount code at the moment. So I'm sure all the races will start to come out with discount codes quite soon. But have you seen anything else that's interesting, Alan?
Shall I just go through my emails? I'll go through
Oh my
today's
God!
emails.
Of course, of course. I bet Rat Racer got a sale on as well, haven't they? They always seem to have a sale.
I haven't got one from Rat Race, but Luma Therapy, 35% off. Tent Box, I've got one. So, tent box that fit on top of your roofs, they've got one. High Rocks Therabody, that's the guns.
Oh
They've
yeah,
got
I
a
got
deal
that
on.
one.
Yeah. Trex Bikes. This is my emails. These are my emails in general. Ultra Running, um, Berghaus, if you like Berghaus stuff, Garmin. Here's a good one. Dry Road, but it's not a Black Friday sale. They got something that I want one, Will. I want one of these. A Dry Road bucket hat. I love my bucket hats. I have got to purchase one of these Dry Road bucket hats because
Have
this
you,
is the Brilliant.
Do you think? Let's just go back one, and then I'll come back. Sorry, I'm always like this, aren't I? But it does say it's made from recycled fabrics. So this is really cool. Just going back to what we were talking about, made from recycled fabrics. But Alan, do you not think that this is a bit of a paradox? Because when do you usually wear a bucket hat?
Well, I wear them quite often. This is the thing. I wear bucket hats quite often.
Well,
So,
you're northern, aren't you? You normally wear hats, especially a bucket hat, to shade yourself from the sun. Okay,
yeah.
when it's sunny, it's hot. This is a dry robe fleece lined bucket hat. So for normal people, you'll be sweating like mono trying to keep away from the sun, or you're either wearing it in the winter, but you don't really need the shade of your eyes, so you probably can't see where you're going.
Oh, see, now you've thrown me off it. Now I don't know if I want one anymore now. Now you've just completely like blown me out of the water. I'm thinking, I
You know
wanted
what?
one of these.
If people go to dryrobe.com and they can have a look, they actually do look really cool. I actually like that the grey one with the orange dryrobe logo. I think that's brilliant color. The blue camo, okay. I think they look really cool. I think it's great that they're made from recycled fabrics, but I just find it weird. You're gonna wear it when it's hot, therefore you're sweating because it's fleece lined, or you're gonna wear it when it's cold and you don't really need the shade. So I don't know. I'd rather wear a bobble hat.
See, I've got the green one in the basket now, and I was about to press
Oh,
play. I was about to
oh,
press purchase right now.
but that green one would go really well with your red robe.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was thinking I can both brands, and I'm like, I like to sit on the fence sometimes, and I'm thinking it goes really well with my red robe, and oh, you've done, that's it. I'm not purchasing now. That's it. You've blown it.
I bet you in a couple of days there's probably going to be a Black Friday sale and it's going to be back in your basket anyway.
Yeah. Who else have I got? Oh, Uni Pizza Ovens. They've got a Black Friday sale on outside OCR, but gosh, there's so much on here. Stock Must Go, Tribe, Activity Store, Go Outdoors, Blacks. Oh, mate, it's going crazy. Planet X. Oh, mate, so many Black Friday deals. Get yourself out there. You need to look out, and that's without going on social media.
How funny, because I'm looking at my emails now. So I've got Dr. Oak, I've got Pizza, Protein Rebel. It's all just food with me. Oh, Sundried. Sundried's worth looking at if you've never seen that. That's like a cycling running brand. And then lots from Amazon. Tough Mudder, £30 off at the moment. I think it'll go up a little bit more than that soon. But yeah, it's funny how you've got lots of different discounts for everything, and mostly mine's just food.
I like that. Bit more news because we're running out of time, Will. So, Jack Carpenter, we've been speaking about Jack quite a lot quite recently, and Wendy Brothers has started a raffle off in aid of him. So, tickets are £5 a strip or £20 for 5 strips. Going to be drawn on Saturday, 14th of December. Some amazing prizes on here. 2-night midweek stay for 4 people at Love Letter Cottage. I don't know where that is, but it sounds good, that to me. One of the top prizes. Protein Rebel, Yogability, Applaud, Debenham Inns, £20 voucher, Nuclear Family of 4, Obstacle Induction and Day Pass, on an 18-litre speed pack light. I guess that's on running. Would that be on running, I think? Yeah.
I think so.
Raw Trails, One Rule, Hang Tidy, Avid Climbing, Healthy Metal, Awesome Supplements Run Through, Brownies, Whole Log Racers, Tough Mudder, Honey and Harvey Afternoon Tea, Wolf Run, lots and lots going off. Definitely worth £5 of anyone's money. Donate to Jack's fundraiser and then just message Wendy and say that you've donated and your money will go on to the raffle.
Absolutely fantastic. Wendy, can I ask, can you just throw that on the UKOCR podcast pub for me so I can have a look, and I'll definitely throw a few pounds in there in there.
Good one. Good one. I think we've all put some money in, and we'll keep on putting some money in as well. Last bit of news. While I was running my escape from Meriden, another of our community, another podcast host, was trying to break a world record. Jamie Gain was trying to run 24 hours and break the world record. Have you seen his amazing feat?
I see one of his amazing feet, and it wasn't very amazing on his reel. If you looked at it, oh my god, that wasn't very amazing. But that's not the point. Alan, tell me about his amazing feat.
He actually ran 100 kilometers in 24 hours, setting a new world record for the furthest distance covered on foot by an amputee in 24 hours. So amazing world record holder, Jamie Gain.
I think that's one, that's absolutely amazing. Two, don't look at his reel if you've got an aversion to feet, because I absolutely do, and I really hated looking at the rest of that reel. But yeah, amazing. I think the second amazing thing is it looks like he ran it around the bloody track. You're just going round and we talk about laps, and I like laps. I don't think I'd like 400-meter laps to do, 100 kilometers. So that in itself is a bit of a feat there.
I mean, absolutely crazy. And I remember reading a book by Yanis Kouros, who is probably one of the greatest all-time ultra long distance runners. We're not talking 100 miles here. We're talking like thousands of miles, multi-day events, point to points that cover a country. And he did a lot of some of his serious ultra running around tracks, so he would get invited around the world to run around a track. And I remember one story where he hired a local band to go at the side of him around the track and play music. So we talked this a time before we had
That's amazing.
And things like that he was that bored running around the track for I think it was something like 48 hours he had to do it. So he would hire a band to come every now and then to play on a horse and cart while he was running around the track. That's having your own Walkman ready. I don't think Jamie did that, but
I wonder if they had Spotify.
Shuffle, fast forward, the first play 10 bars. Shuffle.
Next one.
And every time, once you shuffle twice, you then got an advert. Is that right? If you shuffle twice, you get up. So, yeah. What else is going on? Hi, Rox. Ian's not here. Or can I call you Ian on this instance? You
always bloody call me Ian. That's all right. Hyrox in Hong Kong. How amazing is this? I know it's the second or third time it's been in Hong Kong. I've seen it there before anyway. Hong Kong Major. And apparently it's on YouTube on Saturday morning if anyone wants to watch it. Obviously not filmed by me and you or Ian this time, but YouTube 10 o'clock Saturday morning, which means it's going to be, 6 o'clock in the evening in Hong Kong. So good time. And I'm sure it's going to be air conditioned. They won't be having that outside. It's too hot. But how amazing would it be to go do Hyrox in a different country like Hong Kong or in Asia? It'd be amazing.
I think it would be. If I was ever going to go away or go abroad for Hyrox, I think Hong Kong would be one of the ones I would want to do.
Alan, Hong Kong is all sorts of crazy. You would absolutely love it. A bit of everything for everyone. Great trails because, of course, you may have heard Dragon's Back and the big UTMB races there. So you could do some trails. There's the beach. There's city living, there's Disneyland, there's the little known Hong Kong Disneyland, but that's the 6th Disney park in the world. And then of course you can have a quick trip over on a ferry to Macau where you can see basically what is the Asian version of Las Vegas as well. So a bit of crazy for everyone. Hong Kong would be a fantastic destination for anyone to go visit.
Do you know what I want to do if I ever go to Hong Kong? I want to go down one of them streets, where they have cafes, them little stalls that have cafes, and just try as many different foods as I could possibly can try. Weird and wonderful things that, you know for a fact you're never going to eat over in this country. It's like I went to, when I lived in Brighton, there was Choi's Restaurant, which if anyone has ever watched Quadrophenia, and with Leslie Ash and in the back of alleyway, that's where Choi's Restaurant is. And they used to call a dim sum menu on a Sunday. And it was full of Asian people, very few English people, non-Asian people, I call them. Non-Asian people went in because the menu was in Chinese. They didn't have a menu in English. And I went in one Sunday, I knew the chef there, and he invited us round. And he said, should I tell you what's on the menu? And I went, no, let's just go down one half of the menu. let's have all 12 dishes on this side of the menu. And if I'd have known what one of the dishes were, and I'll tell you what it is in a second, I would never have ordered it. And
Chicken's
it was,
feet.
yes, it was. It was chicken's feet. I would never have ordered it. It was dragon feet, they called it, but it was actually spicy, red hot spicy chicken feet. And
It's
I would never
actually
have ordered it, but
it's
beautiful.
it is a Chinese delicacy, and all Chinese people, apart from me, love chicken feet. I absolutely hate. Actually, to be fair, right, because I'm more English than Chinese. I'm banana, as people call it. I'm a banana, but I just could never pull myself to eat any sort of chicken feet. So actually, it might be tasty, the most tasty thing in the world. I am never going to go to chicken's feet.
I
I
loved it.
mean,
But the one thing I didn't like was what steamed water chestnut jelly in like a dumpling thing. That was awful. That one. But
yeah, it doesn't sound good. But dim sum's lovely. And just going back to Hong Kong, Hong Kong has the cheapest Michelin starred restaurant, which is basically dim sum.
awesome, awesome. One thing we didn't mention: British Champs is the third race in the UK OCR series, not Nuclear Challenge Cup. Now we've been keeping that under his hat for a while
Oh
when it's been
yes.
negotiated.
So what are our first three races?
So first three races is Titan Warrior, followed by a Born Survivor, followed by would have been Nuclear Challenge Cup, but it's now British Obstacle Sports Championship, and then we're up to Scotland for Spartan Beast.
Amazing. And you would think that a host of a very popular podcast show should know the races that are coming up, but obviously I don't. I'm still trying to finish 2024.
Yes. And before I go, WTM, congratulations, Will. 50 miles. Was you happy?
Yes, I was. I mean, most of the listeners might know I broke my finger in the run up to it. So kind of the last 6 weeks of my training had kind of gone in a bit like what you were just talking about. So my residual fitness was there. I probably could have done a bit more running, very hot. And also with the grip strength, I couldn't do Funky Monkey and Well Swung. I didn't even try those. So there was penalties. But 50, honestly, 50 was probably towards the bottom end of what I wanted to do. And then with the finger, it was probably about the target that I was aiming for. So no, I was really happy. And I want to say congratulations specifically to Sam Gascoigne, Michelle, to Craig, Ruth Battersea in her first Tough Mudder. I think she did 65. Fantastic. And Jackie Bowe, who's been working so hard this year, she hit 75 miles. So special congratulations to all of them. But I was really happy, really enjoyed it. And I think I've said to you, I've said to as many people that will listen to me, that I've been so spoiled by that Florida sunshine, that 30 degrees down to 20 degrees. I'm not going to do Beaver Castle next year because it's going to be too cold. I am not going to embrace that suck, and kudos to everyone else that is. I am not going to be in that cold water. No, thank you.
And if you want to change Will's mind, it's hashtag will do it.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to either volunteer or pit or help you guys do media because, well, obviously you're running, so you're not going to be doing any media. But I'll be there in one form or another. Of course, I've got to be there. But I just remember it was, ETM or even the last World's Toughest Mudder. That was like 4 o'clock in the morning, putting my cold wetsuit on again, like just the worst feeling of wanting to go. I was like, no. I'll put my wetsuit on, my neoprene jacket on this time at 4 o'clock in the morning. It was quite warm and it made me feel good, which means that I'm never going to do old Tough Mudder ever again. So that's probably I'm never going to do a UK Tough Mudder ever again, I think.
I like that. Where can our listeners find you, Will?
They can find me on Instagram at will.i.can. Also on YouTube, where actually my latest World Toughest Mudder video is on there. You should be able to find me at Will Chung.
Thank you very much, Will. Thank you for joining us. And listeners, if you've enjoyed what you did today, don't forget to hit us up on Patreon. Join our Patreon. £2 a month helps go to all our private jet fuel that we need to buy. No, seriously, it doesn't. It actually goes to help fund all these podcasts. In the meantime, you stay safe, you keep on running, and we'll speak to you all soon. Bye.
See ya.